Okay.
Let's start now. So the reason why we have Zoom today is would like to know, is there any questions or what you like to share on the my recent YouTube, the Qigong, Neigong stuff. So please share, okay? Don't be my yes man here, because we want to actually share this information out so that everybody know, because we might be able to help somebody if they need this information. And also there are many friends in YouTube asking me wanting to join the Zoom. Well, I am welcome people to join the Zoom, because this is supposed to be for educations, no differentiations or discriminations of lineage or style. The thing is that if you want to join the Zoom, please send me a message to introduce yourself. And we here only talk this technology, culture, education to benefit people. No politics, no other thing. That's why whoever want to join can message me. Okay, so let's start. Who want to start to share first what they learned from the past video?
Well, I feel like I'm the poster child for your video, because I did a lot of the stuff that you talked about, and I got mixed results. And the one thing I was missing is the natural state. And I think if you start doing that stuff, you really need someone to watch over you, because, you can get a hernia, and you might be able to get some power and stuff like that. But, health is so important. And when you start messing with that kind of stuff, you really, really got to be supervised. It can be, I think it can be quite dangerous. And, you might get a little power or a little of this from it. But in the long run, I think it's more important that you have good health. And if you don't have someone watching over you, it's really easy to mess yourself up with this stuff. And you watch people like they talk about the Qigong and whatever, and you see these famous instructors. Then you find out, oh, they had hernias too, and you're going, oh, and they look kind of wooden as they get old. It doesn't mean they can't move you and they don't have power, but you can see that it's not a continuous power. And that was one of the things that made me interested in you. So I just love the natural state and trying to work on that, because I'm good at manipulating my body. I don't even know what natural is anymore. And that's, I think, kind of, it's scary, because if you don't know what natural is, then you do this manipulation. It's hard to figure out where your body should be in a neutral state. That's my 5 cents.
Bill, can you please share a little bit on who you are? How many years you practice martial arts?
I started off when I was a kid, and I started off with Aikido, and I still do Aikido, but then I did a Japanese combat art for 20 years. And, so I've always done the opposite of Aikido at the same time I've done Aikido. So, I learned some of the grappling, some of the kickboxing kicks and stuff like that. But I was always hurt. I've had both my hips replaced, and it's because I don't think I ever had a really good foundation. A good foundation is not taught in Aikido, for sure. And the people who I were working with were already masters of their craft, and they didn't want to get into the foundation. It wasn't kind of what they were doing. They expected you to figure it out. So, and then, I've been doing the Kung Fu for about 10, 12 years. And I've really enjoyed it. And the reason I got into Kung Fu was for health. I used to see it in the movies, and I don't know what they're doing. It didn't make any sense to me. But like I said, I saw the Wing Chun and I saw someone doing just the Selim Tao. And for Aikido, some of the movements made really good sense to me. But after doing it for like 10 years, I go, I didn't like doing it more than once a day because I felt there was something wrong about it. It didn't feel healthy. You know, I still did it, but it didn't feel healthy. And so I've done Tai Chi and the Qigong and all that stuff. I did Iron Shirt where you did the hitting and, you know, and what I'm learning is from you, Henrik, is, you know, look what natural science is saying is, you know, you're hitting with like mung bean bags and stuff. Are you giving your body time to heal? Are you, but no one really, you know, it's foo-foo science out there. There's no like, if you do this, this will happen. You know, I've heard, you know, about the reverse breathing. If you do it, that it can cause high blood pressure. So I was always aware of that, but I don't have high blood pressure, so it's not an issue for me. But I was afraid to ever teach it because I don't want to give someone a heart attack. And so my whole problem with the Qigong world was I went to school for science and I just going, I don't get this. It was fluffy science at best. And the problem is you might get some good results, but does it outweigh the bad results? And so that's kind of my history.
Good. Thanks. So next, who want to share? Daniel?
Well, I can.
Okay. Joe, you can share?
I can relate with what Bill said about the not healthy part. What got me first into your channel was I was seeking for something that was healthy for me on the long run, that would be, how do I say it? That would be good for my well-being, because after all these years of practices, like Bill said, I hated doing my student Tao, and the way I've learned it, just everything in me refused to do that because it was like painful. I couldn't breathe much, and on the long run, I was sure it would damage my body. And what you presented in the last video is what's really missing in all the systems I've trained in, including the 1960s Wing Chun. So it's really important for one not to look for instant results and instant powers, because not everyone is made for it. Not everyone is born with good strength and a good body. And second, even if you're born genetically strong, on the long run, you will for sure pay the price. So one needs to follow what you said, the step-by-step said, and to gain the natural state, and most importantly, to know the recovery part, which is missing. So these are my thoughts.
Thanks.
So what I think is, what I didn't know is about all the stuff that I've learned from you, like the healthy part and how to recover oneself, and all that stuff that was missing in my training. And even I was doing the Selim Taos, I had so many versions due to my changes from one teacher to another. So I had two teachers before, and the one was both of them 1960s, but the other one was doing his way of doing the form and putting this, and changing the form all the time, which was okay for me. But you know, when you start feel uncomfortable, when you do certain moves, like your joints start to hurt, like the shoulder joint or the elbow joints, just because of trying to keep a posture or a certain angle, just because you think, or that's what you have been told, that when you don't have a certain degree of your arm or angle, so it doesn't work. So, and you start to correct yourself and start to improve it and all that stuff. And was not good, because I heard so many times my shoulder, especially my shoulder, when I was doing the bong sao, for example, and that was not it. And yeah, and then I was looking for seeking for something which I didn't know, and because everybody was talking about internal, and I've seen so many videos on YouTube, and they were like to me, it's like doesn't fit, doesn't work for me because it's not right, because they were not telling the truth. Everybody was talking about it, but nobody knew what he was talking about until I found you on YouTube, and that's where my journey started. So and I'm still working on it, and I'm really thankful for that, from what I've learned from you until now, and still learning, of course, because any video you post, it's yeah, it's always learning, so it's never endless.
So Raymond, what do you think?
Yeah, but Daniel said we learn a lot of the videos you put on the YouTube. It's every time, yeah, great information, and I'm glad that you do it. I did several Sinem Taos, the hard way, soft way, own versions from my teacher. Yeah, it was always vernieuwing. Every time I think it was better because it was less hard, it was soft. But yeah, there was no explanation why and how. And we also did Qigong. We must stand like hugging a tree and all those kind of posters. And I never understand why I did it. I don't like it, but yeah, it was part of the training. And now you tell it in the video, and it's more, I understand a little bit more where it is for. But at that time, I didn't know what it was for. So it was internal, they say. And but yeah, it was not much more information. So yeah.
See, I defined for you guys what is Qi in the last video. 3 things. Your breathing, your intra-abdominal pressure, and your energy. So I don't want to stamp at people or jab at people, because we human, we usually, have ego to do that. However, today you look around, whoever talk about internal, do they clearly know about the energy, the intra-abdominal pressure, and the breathing? If they don't have a system. The ancient Chinese have a system, okay? So I put it out there, if you want to talk about Qi and internal, you need to know really clearly your breathing, your energy development, and your intra-abdominal pressure handling. If you don't know that, that means you don't know. If we don't know something, we just repeat something, there's no way we know what it is in really clearly, and there's no way to develop repeatable, qualitable practice and development. It's just like your breathing, okay? We talk about the natural breathing, the reverse breathing, and so forth. Everybody just talk. Now, breathing, not only you need to know the diaphragms and your pivot floor, and also you need know the pressure, the intra pressure, which is you develop, because that's going to influence your internal organs and your diaphragm and your what do you call it? Your muscle and so forth, your abdominal muscle and so forth. One step go wrong, you're going to screw your your facial, right? Your muscle, then you get hernia. Another step go wrong, you're going to screw up your cardio. So what good is to screw thing around? I can tell the entire world, the so-called reverse breathing, the first thing they do is because they need the core stability. So in ancient Chinese Kung Fu, doesn't matter which type of Kung Fu, but the real Kung Fu, the reverse breathing is for the stability, core stability, and also sometimes they use it for helping their stomach, the digestion system. But that is not done as what usually people think. Usually people is thinking using their mind to control their breathing. Reverse breathing and natural breathing is not that. So one needs to get into the state of the natural state breathing, like the N1. See, I can sell my book now here, right? The only book in the universe, right? No. So you need to get into the N1. That is the reference point. If you don't get into the reference point, you really don't know what it is. And then we are taking chance. And then you can see that people who practice like the 6 healing sound and everything, they're making all kinds of sound. They don't know about that. So Daniel's practice healing sound with me, and you look around in the YouTube, did they practice 6 healing sound, or they're stressing themselves to like crazy by making that sound?
Yes.
Okay. So all of this is basic stuff. It is nothing big deal. It's really basic informations. Now, if this information don't get out there, there is no Chinese Kung Fu. Don't kid ourselves. Don't kid ourselves. And for the energy, for the hearing stuff is that in today's sports science, we know it's aerobic, anaerobic, and we even have the loading, handling, and so forth, so forth. But that's not enough, because how or what should you do when you need to recover? So in sport, you got a lot of people who run marathon and suddenly die because of cardio issue. So there is a gap there. So if you look at the entire Chinese thing, you know that if we do not restore the N1 process, or the page 77 in this book, we really don't know what we are doing. So there's the basic. So if the N1 is not restored, there is no internal. Don't kid ourselves. And today, internal, many people say you can take a shot at the body. Is that good? Sure, if you train, usually, you know, everybody in martial art today train to get shot and everything. But do you know that if you want to take a shot, you need to slow down your body, to hold on to your body? And that is exactly the problem of getting KO. Practice those kind of things. Taking shot is good, that accidentally, when you cannot dodge, you take it. Okay, accident. If you think that you can take shot for that, you are not going to be able to handle multiple attacks. So between VO2 max and taking shot, VO2 max is more important, because if you have the VO2 max, you can have continuous momentum handling. If you just take shot, training those hard Qigong to take shot. You're just standing down there. It's like demonstration. Like the people who do Fa Jing demonstration. Look at when Xu Xiaodong fight all those Tai Chi guy and everything. When the momentum come in with a multiple shot, you cannot take it. You just cannot prepare for your body to do the thing. So that is a saying in the Chinese martial arts. A lot of those, what you see today in the demo is they call it in Mandarin is called 走江湖. 走江湖 meaning that medicine men who go sell their medicines, go out there doing demo here and demo there, like selling medicine while you're doing some magic, and then those kind of thing. Well, those kind of thing is nothing wrong. Like every culture have that. Okay. However, the real development of Shaolin in document is saying that a lot of those training for those tricks and so forth is not safe because those cause internal injury after a long run, particularly when they breathe in and out with their mouth. Okay, so they have the breathing of nose in, nose out, mouth in, mouth out. They have a system inside there. Now, just go to the basic. If one have no idea on the N1, how do one even have a reference to know what is what? So like the other day, Xu Xiaodong, our friend Xu Xiaodong is saying that in one of his video, he told different Chinese martial art friends who talked to him, he said, today Chinese martial art is only all the show business, 走江湖 stuff, okay? Well, that's exactly what it is. Like people put you can have spear, Joe, you go to China, you can see that putting spear and this and that. Well, you can put spear in that, but can you take a strike on the jaw that you don't get KO? Okay. So how many seconds you have to wait to get into that condition, preparations to be able to take that demo spear, showing that you are strong, compared with a 1-2 punch, bait you to shoot at your jaw. Who is faster? So right now, this is a real issue. And of course, I don't want to provide you tools for violence because that's not my key. My point is now Chinese martial arts, there's so many good things can work with this modern sport science to get one have better health, to help one to recover, and one can learn about the fighting arts and the theory and so forth in the science. And one do not need to go back to those like, oh, I make a demonstrations. You come to learn from me. Demo for what? Like the other day, I said that, are you going to put your arm there? Wing Chun, like in the movie? Well, let me tell you, grab his elbow. If you see Wing Chuner do that, you grab his elbow because this is immobile elbow, right? You put your hand up there, right? So Daniel, you play BJJ. Bill, you play Aikido. Can I just grab it, go sideways? This is the handle. One point, you KO the damn thing, okay? And once you get there, your structure, everything collapse. So, you serious? So this is This is a problem in education. Now, I'm not jabbing at anybody or stepping at anybody. Past is past. But if you're keeping teaching people this way, you don't have future generations and you're misleading people. You see, the Chinese martial art is being attacked by the Xi Xiaodongs and fans for past 3 years, and nobody dare to be able to say things. Are we going to import whatever is not working in China to or Asia to America or to Europe? There's a responsibility there, because everybody say, well, martial art is to speak for the truth, speak for the people. Am I right? Speak for the public minded. But are we going to practice that, or are we going to practice different things? And you know, if you teach kids, small young kids, do you want them to get damaged, injured, or get into like a fighting or anything, or you want them to be a good person? They grew up good, and not everybody want to be a warrior, not everybody want to be best fighter, but everybody deserve to have a good career, good family, good life. And that's what martial art is for, the Shaolin martial art for. It's not for those showing off and fighting. But then you need the content. You need to know what you're teaching. You cannot just selling snake oil or what, interpret Chinese literature. Like in my book, the Kung Fu 1560. If you look at other translation, it's like a selling literature. It doesn't tell what exactly it is. So now we have a problem. So my notion is I try to solve this thing for whoever who is interested in here. It's a technical problem now. If we don't solve it, what are we doing? Are we professional, or what are we? You know there's a problem, right? So that's why the other day I defined for everybody, when people talk about qi internal, ask them, is it about breathing? Ask them, is it about intra-abdominal pressure? Ask them, is about energy. And they have to be really clear to tell you what lead to what lead to what is the result. If you don't get this result, stop. If you feel this is not feeling good, stop. And if you do not have the natural state to develop qi, to nurture qi for recovery, do not practice other things. Because that is going to, it's like your car have no GPS and go ask you to just go driving. Oh yeah, you're just keeping driving. What are you going to lead to? So is this a big problem? It is a big problem. You look at the Chinese martial art, how many $1 million, if it's not billion, $1 million of industry is that? So I'm not saying that all is bad people. I'm saying that it has to be structurized into education so that everything is proper educate, or else the entire Chinese martial industry will collapse, because people will learn. So that is what in my mind. I just speak my heart for you. And like Bill and me, we are kind of old timer, you know, after decades here. We see many things. We get injured here, we get injured there. Like if I'm running too fast, I get all kinds of thing and so forth, that we see too many things. Oh, should I screw up this, right? And then when you teach people, you say, oh, what the heck is going on like this? And then you can feel that there's responsibility all around. And so like Daniel here have teaching, you teach for about 20 years, 10 years?
Who, me? It's around 20 years or 21 years. Yes.
And
Something like that.
Raymond teach for 10 years, right? How many years Raymond
Yes.
teach?
I do Wing Chun more than 20, and I gave lessons about 10 years. It's a little bit longer.
See, this is a lot of years here. And for us, it's like well, the older we are, we see many problems, and it has to solve. If it doesn't solve, really don't know what happened. So what do you guys think?
I think a lot of people get hung up on tricks, like being able to move people, feeling them bounce off you, and you go, oh, that's cool. And you get, and then it's just a trick. It's not the real thing. When I first started doing Tai Chi, I could just bounce people. I go, oh, this is pretty cool. And then, someone grabbed me too hard, they would bounce off, but you go, now I got to go chase them. So was it really a practical trick? And I think people like the circus trick. It's kind of like Chu Shang Tin really attracted me, because in Aikido, you're trying to move people who are strong, or if you get someone who's a jerk, can you still move them? And so that really attracted to me what he was doing. And then you can start to do it, but when it speeds up, you start to see a lot of that stuff falls apart, because, I do the weapons, and weapons are fast, and you got to be able to handle a big naginata or a spear or something coming at you. And do they bounce you, or, can you take what you've learned and put it into practical stuff without hurting yourself? And that's what I found really, really challenging. Just because I could do the circus trick doesn't mean I could apply it when someone's really coming fast and hard at me, versus a static show. You know what I mean? Normally when you see these guys doing these tricks, they do it static, and then you go, okay, I can push someone, but really, are you just doing a deadlift? I mean, a quick little deadlift to shove them, the 1-inch power. I learned that in weightlifting. You can learn to lift incredible amounts of weight, as long as you don't lift it much, and it's just a trick. But is it healthy for your body to handle that, such a load going through? And I think people just don't know that people are just doing tricks. And it's a shame, because the martial arts, I think, are supposed to make you healthier. And like Aikido is just horrible, for health. Taekwondo, you see all these sports, and then you meet a few people who are in their 60s who can still kick high, who can still do this. But even those guys, I think, are sometimes very lucky, because they started in a system where it was secretive, but they managed to figure it out. But not everybody figures it out. And I don't know if that's the way the Chinese systems were, where they would just hide stuff and let people figure it out. And if they didn't, oh, well, I just think it's awful,
It
that
is, for the Chinese system, I can share with you that for the system, like from the Shaolin itself, the real system is not like that. But they don't teach people, like for example, the N1 process, that's not secret. Everybody teach that, only for the fighting part. So they keep secret for the hiding part, because they don't want people to go out there, they want to observe you. However, like the N1 and so forth, people share with you, because that is for the developing the body and so forth, for the health. However, later on, when people lost this thing, and based on demonstration, tricks, and aggressions to promote their stuff, that's where you see that they don't have system. You see what I'm talking about, Bill? An authentic system, you heard every time they say that you're going to stand hot stand for 3 months. You like it or not, man, I'm not going to teach you fighting. You stand hot stand for 3 months. You know, we heard about the Kung Fu, the Shaolin, the ancient. That is to get you into here. And if the people do not behave, kick them out. But you give them a good body.
But even with the standing posture, I had a friend who was learning from a Tibetan monk, and he did the standing, and him and his student had to go to the hospital afterwards because, you know, he was, you know what I mean? He was trying to hold that pose when he shouldn't have been holding it.
This is a problem. What is a Tibetan monk got to do with the technology? That's why I always ask people, questions everybody. Let's not talk about name. That's why I don't want anybody talk about name. I talk about technology. Define for me for the Qi. Qi means for Hendrik mean the breathing, the intra-abdominal pressure, and the energy in the body. It can be tested. It can be checked, verified with science. Now, if you want, you know, that's got nothing to do with this monk or that monk. I don't care who is the monk, okay? Do you have the technology?
Well, I think a lot of the monks don't, or maybe they don't, or maybe they just...
It just become a show business. Even today, the monk is a show business. So that's why left and right, I scream at people, even monk, even Buddhist monk, because today many people commercialize things and they don't really understand what it is, and they are selling their relationship. Like if I'm going to sell, you know, if I want to sell you guys, it's simple. Me is a direct line from Red Boat. Straight line, very pure bloodline. Then you pay me $10,000. I'm a Grandmaster Hendrik Santo. Well, that's bullshit, okay? I don't like that. But today, everybody's selling that way. Be it in Buddhism, the same thing. Do you know what the heck it is? See, the problem is all these people, when they do that, you know they lack of one thing, which is called responsibility. If you really a grandmaster, you know that there's a responsibility for the people you teach. Okay. So, okay, time is up. Let's talk later. Bye-bye.